Today we're going to be discussing Cosential for Outlook, CFO, and I'm going to be demoing the Cosential for Outlook. We'll go over the guide, but I'm not going to be going over step-by-step how to install it. I'm going to assume that you will have already had it installed, and then we'll move forward from there. Unfortunately, our current setup for Cosential for Outlook that Cosential has released, the opportunity pipeline is not available on Macs yet. So you'll see that I'm logged in twice today. I'm going to be demoing the main part that you interact with for emails on my Mac, and then I'm going to switch over and demo the pipeline from my PC. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. First, I want to let you all know that we have some resources on our website. So if you go out to the ckearneyconsulting.com and click events, you'll see our upcoming events. We've started posting them for 2021. We've got our marketing calls on the first Wednesday of the month and our CRM user group calls on the second Thursday of the month. We're also going to be continuing these free webinars. We're going to shoot for twice a month, every other Tuesday. So be on the lookout for those. Because we have split up this webinar into part 2 being Cosential for Outlook today, and then part 3 is going to be the mobile, and that's going to be Tuesday, January 12th. So be sure to register for those. If you would like to help us pick topics for those upcoming webinars, we're going to have both Cosential focus and some general free webinars as well, just centered around everything CRM. Be sure to fill out the survey that will launch after this webinar concludes. We do look at that to consider the topics for our next webinar. Looking also at our website, if you click the CKC stories, we do have resources there. I've dropped the URL into the chat window. So if you want to access our website quickly from that link, you can. Here are articles if you want to look at all of the CRM calls that we've had by topic. They're in this article. So be sure to check out our website for our resources. All right, before we get started in the Outlook piece of everything, I did want to let you know that in order for CFO to work in your account, you will have to have your OFA, the overall firm administrator, go to the app market, and then here for the Cosential Outlook piece, you will have to install and enable that. If you go out to the support center and you go to the user guides, so if you click your support center on the right-hand side, you'll see the user guides here. If you look at the Cosential for Outlook in parentheses new, that's the guide that will help you walk through how to install the Cosential for Outlook piece if you have not already done so. You've got the shortcut to the contents here that are hyperlinked so you can get to that information, or you can click this link. It might be cut off a little bit on your view, it is on mine, but that will open up the PDF document. One thing to note is that this is only supported by Outlook 2016 and later, and the pipeline is only supported on a PC and not a Mac. Looking through here, the other things that I wanted to point out, if you have questions and you're not really IT savvy on the Microsoft side, they've got a flow chart here for the system requirements and what you'll need to have in order for the CFO to work for your firm. As you scroll down, it will also have some of those requirements and the versions spelled out a little bit further. The app configuration and setting that up is listed as well. And then once you're in Outlook, how to get the plugin, or excuse me, the add-in enabled and installed, the instructions are here as well. When you go to configure it, just know that when you're in the app market, it's a firm-wide configuration. When you're in your Outlook, that is user specific to you. Now that we're past the setup portion, I am going to drop in the URL to the guide. So you've got that quickly for your quick reference. You do need to be logged into Cosential in order for that link to work. Okay, now we're going to go over to the email. I'm going to try to move some of these Zoom features. All right, we'll move you over here a little bit. I've got my PC over here to see what you guys see. Okay, perfect. Looking at your emails, the only time that the Cosential for Outlook panel is going to be enabled is if you're on an email. So if you're on your calendar, you're not going to see it. If you're on your task, you're not going to see it. So once you are on a specific email or in your inbox, then you will see the Cosential red eye in your toolbar at the top. Once you click that, this panel on the right will display. Now, if you don't want this enabled all the time, you can just be enabled whenever you want to click this, or you can click the tack icon and it will pin it to the side so that it will always be there. In this setup, what you want to think is that this is a window into Cosential. For those of you who have had Cosential for a long time, if you used Ethnos, that was a two-way sync. This is not. This is a window into Cosential. So you're looking at what is there or what isn't there in the system. This isn't pushing information or trying to sync it with what you already have. So when we look into Cosential, what it's doing here is under the people section, it's saying the person that has sent you this email is not here, is not in Cosential, it's not present. How I know that is because there is a blue plus sign. If this person was already a contact in Cosential, it would have an envelope icon, and that is how I would know this contact's already in Cosential. Now, if for whatever reason, it doesn't automatically pick up your email in the to line, in the BCC line, in the CC line, then you can search for the contact. If you want to tag this email to a company record, contact, opportunity, personnel, or project that isn't automatically connected, then you absolutely can search for that. So if I wanted to search for a contact, then I can go ahead and type that information in, and then it will pull all of that up. So here under my Courtney Kearney contact, I've already am listed under a different personal email address, but here it's got the envelope icon, which means that contact already exists in Cosential. So when I click it, it's going to tag that contact record and add that email to that record. So to see what that looks like, I can hover over the contact's name and then click. This is going to let me see some contact details, phone number, social. You can click these to get to that person's social if it was linked. When you are looking through this, if you see something wrong, like, uh-oh, that link didn't work, or the phone number's wrong, or, hey, I do have the address now. If you click it one more time, it will launch that contact record in Cosential. Again, you need to be logged in order for that to work. If you're not logged in, it's okay. The prompt would be the login page. Once you log in, then you can get to that contact record. And then I could quickly drop in my updated information, click update, and then when I'm back over here, it would update accordingly. Oh, did I do the personal? No, it should update. So if I want to get to the company record, it is a hyperlink. So you can see that by when I hover over it, my mouse changes. So again, I can get to the overview of the company. So I can see information. I can see contacts that are associated. I can see all the call logs that have been associated to that company, the opportunities. If there were projects, you could see projects associated as well. If you want to get to that company record, you can click the company name and then pull it up from there. Great question in the Q&A, and I will address that at the end. So I'll leave that in the Q&A for now. If you do have questions throughout the presentation, feel free to drop them in the Q&A. Now, coming back to this specific email, what we're going to look at is that it's going to search the entirety of the email. So the entire thread. It's going to look and use machine learning and AI to look through all the signatures, all the previous 2 CC and BCC lines, and pull all those emails up. Now on the right, you'll see that another name has been pulled up, but that was because we've already previously tagged this email to that record. So when we do go to that contact record, down at the very bottom, you'll see that this email has been associated. Am I on the right email? Scrolling. Here it is. So in the email history, this has already been associated today. All right, so when we go back, and it is a plus sign, if you keep up with the product updates, then you'll know that when you click this plus sign, it will automatically pull in as much information that it can from a signature or previous information that was entered in the email. So here it's going to try to pull in the name based on the name that comes across from the 2. Obviously, that's not what I want, so I'm going to change that. If I had a title, it would try to pull that in. It's not sure about the company, so we'll go ahead and pull that in as well. It will search what's already in the system so that you can enter or create contacts to an existing company. Now, it does have a cell phone number, and usually it would pull that in. Since it didn't, you can just toggle back and forth. So what it's done is when I clicked that blue plus sign, a browser window has opened on top of this. So now I'm creating, again, directly into Cosential. It's not syncing, it's putting it directly into Cosential. So I can just move back and forth between the email and the browser window that's sitting on top. The same address as the company. For your configuration, your OFA decides what categorizations are going to show up here. So for ours, we have the contact type, CRM experience, the contact source, mailing list, and our divisions. So really that is configured specific to your account. So if there's a firm org that you don't use, it doesn't have to be listed. Now you can add notes or other associations. If there's somebody else that you know would know this individual, you can add them. By default, it's going to add me as the primary owner. If you want to add any other information, you can. Now it went out and found that my contact information was out there. So it went ahead and pulled in those social profiles. If you don't want that to be the case, and maybe you want this to be a different URL, you can absolutely override that or simply delete it altogether. If you have your personnel or personal information listed or enabled, you can fill it out here. So if you did want to go ahead and enter some of the personal side, you absolutely can. Now, once you have the information that you want to list here filled out, then you would create the contact using the button in the lower right-hand corner. Once that's created in Cosential, again, this window or panel into the system is going to show you that this email address that this came from is in Cosential and the email has been tagged. If you want to verify that, again, you can click into that contact, and it will appear and show in the browser, internet browser. We've got a question, where does the OFA edit the data to be listed? So in the app market, let's see if I still have that pulled up. Under the Cosential Outlook, here is where you do your configuration in the upper right-hand corner. So this is where some of that configuration will take place. Again, if you look through the guide, it'll walk you through that step by step as well. All right, so going back to the email that we had tagged, it pulled up the email and the contact that we just created. You can see that the URLs came through. As we scroll down, the email that we had tagged is now here. And if I click the URL, it's going to open up that email. Now, one thing to be very mindful of is that it will bring over the entirety of the email. So if you have a long thread history of emails that you have been exchanging, those will come through. So in the event that you only want the last conversation or maybe, the last 3, I would forward it to myself and delete everything you do not want to see in your CRM or be listed in Cosential. All right, so looking back at this piece, because I've now connected it to a company, the opportunities are going to come in. So in the event that I want to also tag this to an opportunity record, then I'm going to do the same where I'm going to click the envelope icon. It's going to turn blue, which now tells me that it's been tagged to that opportunity. Once I click the hyperlink to go to that opportunity in Cosential, and I come down to the bottom, the email history will load, and here is my email that I have tagged using the Cosential for Outlook. If I go back and if I don't see the opportunity, or maybe it's a brand new pursuit, this person emailed you some new intel and now you want to create an opportunity from that. You can do so by clicking the new plus sign, create the opportunity, and now you can fill out all the information as you go through it. Whatever's required in your system the requirements will come through. So you can fill out the information, move through. Which one did I select for this stage? Okay, 3. It's going to automatically select me as the staff, and then I can click save. It should save it. Did I miss a required field? Client is populated. Well, that's fun. Let's see if it did create it, and maybe I can pull it up this way. It does not look like it created it. All right, we will try it one more time. It is going to drop in the subject line as the opportunity name. You can override that, or you can add to it. We'll go through one more time, make some selections, make sure I'm connected. We'll give it a service and click save. We are not saving. Okay. I am not sure why. When I tested it earlier, it worked. So I'm not sure why it's not working now. In theory, you can create contacts like we did before, create companies, call logs. If I wanted to just have this be a reminder, so a reminder to follow up. It will auto tag the contacts and the companies that were already previously associated with that record. So now the call log has been created. When we go into that contact, we will see the call log down at the bottom has been created. So a follow-up reminder on the 30th has been created. A side note, if you missed one of our earlier webinars about how to push call logs to a calendar, it hasn't hit my email yet, so it hasn't come through. We did demo the ability to push call logs to a calendar, and that one will come through and be listed here. You can go to our events page and check out that previous recording here in our recent events. All right, so with the last remaining 8 minutes, we're going to, oh, great question, Rachel. Can you add sub opportunities to an existing opportunity? When you go to, see if I can close the window. Add the opportunity, it has to be a master that you're creating. You can't create a sub yet. When you go to search for the opportunity, you should be able to find a sub if you're searching for the opportunity, or if the opportunity is listed here, then it could be tagged to a sub. You can't create a sub from within. All right, great questions. As I pull over and switch to my PC, I want to let you guys know that the question that was posed originally in the Cosential for Outlook, or excuse me, stop sharing. The question that was posed is, in my opinion, do I feel that the cost of adding this Outlook feature is worth it? What I would say about the cost associated to add this is it completely depends on how you or your users will be using the platform. So if you have a user that lives and breathes in Outlook, then I definitely think that it's worth it. If you have some marketing people who need to tag proposal or proposal updates to your projects for your project data, then you would need to, then I would invest in it. I definitely think that it's worth it to get it for certain users. As far as the cost goes, I would not, I do not know what the cost is. That is dependent per what you work out and what your license structure is with Cosential. So that is a great question for your CSM. If you don't have a designated customer, what does CSM stand for? Client Success Manager. If you're not assigned a specific one, then just reach out to support and they can help you get in touch with a CSM, or if you are assigned an account manager, then that's a great question for them. All right, looking, I think I've got all, oh, there's a question in the chat. It looks like some say that there is no additional cost. Again, it just completely depends on the contract and how it's written for you and your firm. Every, yes. Good point, Joyce. It just depends on what you have worked out and what your rate currently is versus where they're currently at. Again, I'm not privy to the cost or breakup of Cosential. that is a great question for them and how your contract is associated with them. So now looking at the pipeline piece of Cosential for Outlook. So again, if you were on a Mac, this is not going to work for you. It does work on PC. So when you're looking at your add-ins, so down here, I've already got my little icon here. Your add-in icon might be hiding under these 3 dots. Either way, once you click it here, you'll see Cosential on the left-hand side. Now, what's really nice about being able to manage this is that it is drag and drop, kind of like a Tableau or something like that, that is more plug and play management of your opportunities. The color features here are connected for us to a service. So the service line is attached to that color. You can set your color preferences within the preferences, so that is user dependent. The colors do not have to be true across the entire firm. So as you come in, you can decide if you want to automatically be associated to every opportunity that you create. You can give the role that you are added as. You can see the value. If you have multiple value fields on your opportunities, you select which one you'll be viewing. You can also customize the stages that appear. So you can remove some, have it drill down to just 3 maybe that you want to manage within your Outlook. If you want to display your average days in stage, you can. You determine all this information and customization. For those that have color OCD or the architects on the firm or on the call, no, you cannot control the color palette. It is what it is. You just get to assign certain values to the colors that you've already been given. So far, we have 4. If you would like to see more, that would be great to put in an enhancement. You can see we have far more services than we have colors for. So we prioritized which ones we have color tags for. Again, if you want to see more colors, put in an enhancement request. Now, once you've set up your preferences, you can go back to the opportunities in the upper left-hand corner, and that will display the pipeline. Now here, I can drag and drop this opportunity to a different stage. This color is associated with this service line. If there's more than one service or more than one firm org that has been selected to that record, if you hover over the 3 ellipses dots, it will display the rest of the values. You just have a certain, only one value will display on this little abbreviated version, but you can still see the rest of the values. Now, if I want to see this in Cosential, you can click the hyperlink and it will open up your internet browser and allow you to see the opportunity record. Make some changes. All of that information is here on the browser. It looks like we've got some information in the chat. Fantastic. All right, so when you're here, you can make the further edits that are not available to you within Outlook. Basically, what you can do in Outlook is change the stage. So think of it as an abbreviated opportunity grid. It just happens to be more drag and drop than the opportunity grid itself. Now, what I want you to pay attention to up here is that this is just for opportunities that you are listed on the staff team. I did reach out to Cosential earlier today to ask if it was in the development schedule to change that so you can see all the opportunities. They have identified that that is a feature that they want to bring to Cosential for Outlook. No timeline was given, of course, but we do know that that's coming where you're not limited to just the opportunities that you're tagged to. But right now, that's what we have. So in order to see opportunities here and be able to manipulate them in Outlook, you have to be tagged on the record as a staff team. So when you're on the opportunity here, you have to be tagged in a staff team role. Then it will show up here. That is Cosential for Outlook in a very quick 30 minutes. So hopefully you gained some insight. And if you have further questions, feel free to reach out to me or my team, or the Cosential Support Center has, again, that guide, or you can call Cosential Support and get that information. Looks like we have one other question in the Q&A. Can you show again where you go to suggest updates to the Cosential developers? Sure. So once you're in Cosential, if you go over to, oh, come on, into the support center, in the upper right corner, you can submit a ticket. And in that, when you go to submit a request, there is a drop down for enhancement. Some of my Zoom features are covering up this drop down, so I think it's that one. Okay, so enhance feature suggestions. And then when you come in, you can click CFO Cosential for Outlook here and make your suggestions. Has anyone had any issues creating ops with CFO? If you watched my demo, I had issues. So as anything, yes, there is some glitches to all software. So yes, there are bugs sometimes. Because this is a very important feature to Cosential, they take those very seriously. So if you reach out or put in a bug ticket for Cosential for Outlook, it gets paid attention to very quickly, because this is a very big feature for them, especially as they are selling new and getting new clients. They're pushing the on-the-go part of Cosential very heavily. So on the go to them includes the Outlook and mobile. So both of those features are highly important to them. So if you do have issues, please reach out to the support center. Mine are automatically selecting all service offerings. So definitely look through your preferences on both the Outlook side and the configuration in the app market. And maybe there's some configurations that are already set that are selecting all of that for you. All right, thank you so much. And I would love to have you join us for part 3, where we'll be covering the mobile aspects of Cosential. And feel free to complete the quick, I think it's 5 to 7 questions survey after this. You guys have a fantastic ending of the year, and I will see you in 2021.